Hey, everybody, it's Greg Harrelson here with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. Of course, joined by my partner and good friend, great real estate agent, Abe Safa, also with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. And this is our first recording for the brand new year, 2023. Abe, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. It's been a couple of weeks, huh?
It has been a couple of weeks. I'm excited to kind of like get back into the conversation. I think you and I both we talked the other day, and when you were I were talking about your trip to New York, and I was out of the country for a little while, and how how once we get out of our routine, it becomes a little challenging. And so it's like I'm ready to get back in, just to get back into the routine. I'm almost lost without my routine.
Yeah, it does. It's a little bit awkward. It's like a fish out of water. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Well, we're going to jump right into it. So, everybody, thank you for continuing to tune in to the Myrtle Beach Real Estate TV updates that we do. Today, we're going to talk about, of course, give you some market data as we always do. But I wanted to, kind of talk about reasons why it is it's still a seller's market in Myrtle Beach, because I think there's just a lot of people say the market's down. And I want to, the reality is the market's not down. If we look at prices, I mean, overall, it's not that down. But Abe, I'm going to go ahead and let you instigate the conversation on the data, and then we'll have a dialogue about it. Because in my opinion, this is a hot seller's market. And that's not just a clickbait term. This is like, we've got the proof that this is a hot seller's market, which contradicts a lot of belief.
Yeah, I mean the difference between what we do and what a lot of people, agents out there do, is there is no scare tactics. We're not gonna give you headlines or titles that are gonna get you to act real quickly out of
No.
fear, right? We're gonna give you the facts on what they are. So you said something earlier that was really important. Market being down. So you're hearing that term a lot. A lot of agents are talking about it. The media is talking about it. So we want to make sure there's a clear distinction what that really means. There's no question about it. There's less sales happening. There's been less sales happening for quite a few months now relative to last year. As a matter of fact, the number of closed sales in December for single family homes was down almost or around 50%. The same thing for condos. So there's definitely less transactions. Okay. But what Greg was talking about, that doesn't necessarily mean prices are lower. As a matter of fact, I just looked up right before this video. I looked up the average sales price for single family homes. This is just resale only, not new construction, for the month of December, and it was 454,000. Was the average sale. Now that's up 14.1% compared to last year December. So that's a big jump, right? When you look at the peak, going back the last 3-4 years where we had the hottest market ever, even higher than 2008 as far as prices, the peak was only 488 back in April.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not that far off. So when you say we're down 50% less transactions happening, but only that much of a drop in prices, that's really nowhere near what you would think would be based on what the media out there is saying. Now you look in November, we're actually up from November. So I know, Greg, you and I talked about it this morning. We're seeing a spike in buyer activity now all of a sudden.
Yes.
So just from November until now, average sales price for single family homes is up $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So by the interest rates, and one of the things we'll talk about today is interest rates. The interest rates going down 1%, all of a sudden created more buyers in the market, and they're coming in and buying things right now.
Yeah. I know a lot of real estate agents actually listen to our recording. I think a lot of real estate agents also listen to these updates because, we're educating the consumer, and the agents, also listen to what we have to hear. And I hope the agents that do listen don't get mad at me for saying this, because we're all in this together. But a lot of the sellers, or let's say property owners, are being told the market is down by two categories of people.
Mm-hmm.
Either the news, who just wants to get clicks and views. They're just looking for ratings. So their interest, in my opinion, isn't always it's not that they're lying, but they take certain things and they say it because they know it'll get attention. Okay. So I don't give that a lot of credits, but that's where a lot of the source is kind of that news. That's not really local, doesn't have a local, their finger on the pulse in the local market. The second place that they're getting the information is from real estate agents. And it's not that real estate agents are given misinformation, but I think there's a disconnect. Real estate agents are experiencing, on average, less sales because the market has less sales. So if the sales are down 25% in the market, then that means a real estate agent's sales as a group is down 25%, which means their income is down 25%. So they're definitely going to describe that as a down market. A down market for a seller is typically described as a market where their price went down by 25 or 30%. So if their price was 400,000 and now their price is 325,000 and they lost $75,000 worth of equity, then a seller would say that's a down market. But the seller should not care if the real estate agents are making less sales. The real estate agent cares about that because they're making less income. So a lot of the dialogue about the market's down, the market's down, to be truthfully, a lot of it has to do with agents. Their personal businesses are down, which is different than the market is down and it's no longer a seller's market. I've heard people say it's a buyer's market. It's not a buyer's market. Right. Buyers are paying top price at the highest interest rates. It's not a buyer's market. It's a seller's market 100%. And I actually believe, Abe, it's going to heat up in the next 90 days. I think it's going to be even more of a seller's market. We'll see. That's speculative, but that is my opinion.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I don't see it as a buyer's market out there. Now sellers don't have the same leverage they had, 9 months ago, right? So buyers aren't coming in at 10% above asking price and getting rid of all contingencies. Yes. Right? But by no means is this a buyer's market. There's hardly any inventory out there.
I want to touch on that because that's a very important statement that you make, right? Because there are people that are declaring it's a down market because we're no longer getting, if we price a property at 500,000 and we sell it for 500,000, we're actually saying that's a bad market because before we're at 500,000 selling it at 530. So a down market is when the property's worth 500 and you're selling it significantly below. A down market cannot be described as because we're no longer getting more than it's worth, it's a bad market. No, it's when you're getting significantly less than it's worth is when it's a down market or a bad market. And we have no signs of that.
Yeah, the sellers are getting about 98% of asking price right now still.
Yeah.
And again, when we talk about this, we're talking in general terms. We're talking about the entire market. Of course, there's going to be different pockets. There's still certain neighborhoods that are getting above asking price.
Yeah.
There's certain condo buildings that, their prices have dropped, 15, 20% relative to what the height was, right? So there's going to be specific things to look at when it comes to your particular property. But we're talking in general terms when we average the entire market out.
Yeah. Yeah, a good example of that is certain price points. Like, some of the higher end price points are probably experiencing something a little bit different. Maybe they would experience, well, gosh, it's not selling quite as fast as we thought it was going to sell. But if you're in the lower end market or, at a lower price point, like a $300,000, $295,000 house, it's selling tomorrow. Selling tomorrow. So price points, product types, areas, all of them are different. And so we have to kind of do individual research on each area to kind of share with you where you stand. But overall, yes.
All right. So let's talk about, we noted a couple of things of why we still think it's a good seller's market, Greg. You want to start with, let's start with inventory.
Yeah. So it's very little. There's very little inventory today. I mean, right now there's a 2.4 month supply. So I guess I think your numbers showed that in November, we had about a 2.6 month supply. So we started, if somebody's really paying attention and can remember these recordings, there was a little bit of a point where like, okay, inventory's growing, and it got to 2.6 months in November, but now it's 2.4 months. So technically, if we just look at November till today, I think it's a fact, right, Abe, that the inventory has actually decreased a little bit. Is that right for single family homes?
It has. Yeah, it's gone down almost 10%. So I mean, that's pretty significant. Yeah.
Yeah. And the same thing goes for condos. There was a 2.3 month supply in November. Now there's a 2.4 0.2 month supply. You might be thinking, gosh, 0.2, 0.3, this is very subtle. And it just shows you, Abe and I are looking at these numbers very carefully, and we're just looking for trends. It's not necessarily how much, but we're looking at trends. We saw it supply going up, 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 up. And now all of a sudden we saw it flatten, and then it's dipped a little bit. That's a trend. So we're starting to see a curve.
Yeah, but even the numbers, overall numbers, like, okay, so 10% down in inventory, that's 220 homes less on the market.
Yeah.
So you can't be in a buyer's market and start to see inventory going down like this.
Yes.
So that points to a strong seller's market. And again, for historically, the rule of thumb has always been, if it's a 6-month supply of inventory, it's a neutral market. If it goes lower than that, then it becomes a seller's market, which 2.4 months is way lower than 6, obviously. And if it goes higher than 6, then it becomes a buyer's market.
Yeah.
So we're nowhere near a buyer's market, let alone even a neutral market.
Right. Yeah.
The second thing is interest rates. So we peaked in interest rates back in October. I think it was October 20th. The 30-year average, this is national, right? And of course, based on your credit score, it's going to differ. But it was like 7.37. Now we're down, as a couple of days ago I checked, it was like 6.5, 6.54. So almost a full percentage point down in mortgage rates.
Yeah.
That itself, in my opinion, I don't have numbers to verify this, but I think it brought in roughly 10, 12% more buyers back into the market, Greg.
Yeah. Wow.
We see the activity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other thing that comes with this is, it might not show up in data, is that the mortgage companies have responded. So interest rates went up, demand actually fell. Well, these mortgage companies and banks, they need to keep lending money. So they responded with things like 2-1 buy down programs, 3-2-1 buy down programs even. So they created these programs where even today, if we get a buyer come in, that 6.54 interest rate, we can get them an interest rate in many cases, assuming they're qualified to buy a property, to get a mortgage. They could get an interest rate of 4.54 for the first year, 5.54 the second year, and the third year is the first year it would be 6.54. And most people believe that interest rates are going to come down anyway, so they can just refinance at a lower rate and never pay 6.54. So even though interest rates have come down a little bit more, there's products that have also entered into the market that pushes that down. So when you have a good real estate agent working for you, they're able to explain that to the buyer and get these buyers off the fence that normally wouldn't come in and buy at 6.54. Well, they realize they can get 4.54 for a year, and then the next year is just a little bit more. Now all of a sudden those buyers are coming back in. So you got lower inventory and you got these options for low interest rates.
Yeah, and when you're with the right agent, if they know the data, it's really important to kind of look at that data when you get ready to list a home. Like one of the things that you and I are looking at as well, which is you want to talk about leading indicators and lagging indicators. This is a leading indicator. Mortgage applications. Mm-hmm. The last 12 weeks in a row, they've been up.
Okay, good one.
So that tells us that, look, buyers are starting to get pre-approved. They're getting back in the market. So if you're thinking of listing, okay. And another thing that we're going to bring up in the next topic is what Zillow's predicting for January as far as buyer activity.
Yes.
So everything's pointing in the right direction. Inventory is down, prices are still up, more buyer demand, mortgage application increasing, which means there's going to be more buyers for the spring. So all these things are pointing to this is really a good time to hit the market if you're thinking about selling.
Yeah. And because you need to be, if you are thinking about selling, you need to get on the market. Right. Because you don't want, because you can see these, like every few months we're seeing a little bit of a shift. Okay, nothing dramatic, but a little bit of a shift. So you got to get ahead of this. And that's what's key when you see, like you said, the inventory is going down, mortgage applications are going up, which means the buyer demand is going. And the last thing here, number 3, we talked about, the thought about inflation could be easing a little bit. We're seeing a spike in the buyer activity. And I was talking to somebody at Zillow, and Zillow's told me that they predict, what their numbers show is that we should have about a 36% increase in buyer activity, buyer traffic, starting around mid-January. And so from mid-January, which is coming up, through the first quarter, probably see a 36% increase in buyer activity. So that means there's more buyers, and that's already starting to show up in the mortgage applications. More buyers, more mortgage applications, lower inventory. unless something reverses overnight, that's all pointing to a hot seller's market.
Yeah, all the dominoes are being lined up.
Yes.
They're getting pre-approved. Okay, they're going to be on Zillow and our websites come, next week or two. They're already coming in, which means that they're going to be buying properties going pending, late January, beginning of February, and all through the spring. Those spring buyers are active right now. They're already searching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, good. Well, I think we made our case. The numbers that we're sharing, we know them to be factual because Abe looks at these quite quick. He researches them. And again, none of us have a crystal ball, but what Abe and I do our best on is we look at things logically, and then we look at like when this happened in the past, this is what happened in the near future. And that's the type of information we're trying to bring to you. So, Abe, thank you again for joining me. And for those of you, if we can help you in any way, there's our numbers at the bottom. Please reach out to us. We'd love to serve you and help you in any way we can. Even if you're not thinking about selling and you just want to get an understanding of where the market is for your particular property or neighborhood, reach out to us. We just would love to help you now and give us a shot to earn your business someday in the future.
Yeah, I'm glad you added that last point, Greg. So even if you're not selling, like we have, our databases are pretty big because a lot of people in this market trust us.
Yeah.
So we send periodic market reports. So if you want a market report for your community or your condo building, just to see what's selling, how long it took, what's on the market, just give us a call or shoot us a text. We'll set you up on those as well. Would love to send you information that's helpful. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Take care.